Since we finally had some time to reflect on this, we can go back and talk about the Kawhi Leonard trade. The day has come, ladies and gentlemen, and Kawhi's return is here, the second most anticipated night of the season for the Toronto Raptors. This is the Airborne Podcast. I'm your host, Ajith, and we got a lot to talk about. To start things off, let's go back all the way to when the trade happened and reflect on what we gave up to get Kawhi Leonard. So DeRozan was obviously upset with Masai because he felt like he got blindsided with the trade, but Popovich and the Spurs did not have that deal set in place for us or Masai to take it. And when he did, he pulled the trigger because you don't ever say no to a person like that. A top 5 player in this league definitely does not deserve to be put on hold. As soon as the other organization says it's ready to go and gives you the green light, we go and get him. And that's what happened. Whatever happened with DeRozan, I mean, business is business. Obviously, it didn't go the way it's supposed to, but we got the trade done. The crazy part about that trade is the players we didn't have to give up and the players we did end up giving up. So for Kawhi and Danny Green, who is no slouch, Danny Green was a throw-in, but ended up being a huge piece because you saw what he did in Game 3 of the NBA Finals. He came out and hit a bunch of those threes. I believe it was 6 he hit in that game, and we blew him out that game when Klay Thompson was not there, and Steph Curry tried to go off by himself, went for 49, but they lost the game. And that was the beginning of the end for the Golden State dynasty. But to get back on topic, we gave up DeMar DeRozan, Jakob Poeltl, and a late first-round pick for Danny Green and Kawhi Leonard. When we go back and look at that trade, do you know how much of a steal that was for us? Clearly, things worked out for us very well because we ended up winning the championship, which was what our main goal was. Because with Dwayne Casey and DeRozan at the head of the snake, we were not able to get over the hump. With LeBron James always blocking our way, he left the West. We fired Dwayne Casey. We traded DeRozan, and there you have it. Toronto Raptors 2019 NBA champions. I don't know how Greg Popovich and R.C. Buford accepted that trade without OG Anunoby or Pascal Siakam. I'm surprised they didn't even ask for any of them. But then again, if you really think about it, no one was really willing to give anything for Kawhi Leonard because they were so scared of how bad the injury was. He got his way out of San Antonio. He only played 9 games the previous season, and he was sitting out. He didn't want to play even though the doctors cleared him to play. So no one was willing to take the chance, and the Raptors were the only team willing to give up a star player in return for a superstar, an all-star for a superstar. And Greg Popovich did not want to go through a rebuilding phase. He wanted to be competitive, and he thought DeRozan was the answer, and he pulled the trigger on the trade because DeRozan was a 20-point per night type scorer. Even though he's kind of passing his prime, they still felt like they could be a playoff team with DeRozan and Aldridge on the team. And then Kawhi came to Toronto. You heard all the rumors about how he wasn't going to play for us. He was going to fake an injury. He was not going to stay in Toronto, and he wanted to go back home. But once he came over, he took his physical. Everything came together. He was working with Masai. He liked what Masai said to him because that phone call Masai had with them, that very first phone call, he said, "We think you're the best player, and we know you can get to the championship and get us where we've never been. In the 25 years we've been in existence, we have not sniffed the championship. We've only been to the conference finals once, and thank you, DeMar DeRozan and Kyle Lowry, for that experience, but we were not going to be satisfied with staying there for the rest of our time, basically, We wanted more. Raptors fans were crazy to have more. They knew they just needed that one player to push us over the edge and get us there, and they knew everyone around Canada, worldwide, was going to explode once we got that elusive Larry O.B. And, Kyle Lowry, was a big part of that too, because he could have easily been like, you traded my best friend, I want out, or he could have been bitter about it and just sunk the whole ship. But he sucked up his pride. He knew he wanted to win a championship. He saw how Kawhi Leonard was in practices. He saw he was laser focused and ready to go. And there's Kyle Lowry's no slouch. He's an all-star, and together they worked it out and they made it happen. And Kyle Lowry always said that the season's always a fail if the championship is not the main target. If that's not the goal, then what's the point of playing? And he knew Kawhi Leonard was the type of player that can get him there, and they made it happen. Pascal emerged in the process. He was barely getting minutes in the previous years because Dwayne Casey didn't want to play him. We had Patrick Patterson for a bit. Serge Ibaka was playing the 4 till last season when we moved him to the 5. And, he became the most improved player playing behind Kawhi. And when Kawhi was having his bad nights, Pascal stepped up. And everyone thinks that Kawhi Leonard was the only piece to this whole team, and he just played with a bunch of scrubs. They made it seem like that the Raptors of last season was like the 2007 Cavs that LeBron James literally dragged to the NBA Finals to face the San Antonio Spurs when they eventually got swept. But no, the Raptors have players, and now everyone's starting to recognize it because of the way that they're playing this season. The only thing they're missing is that superstar, and Pascal Siakam is not ready to be that yet. He only started playing basketball when he was 16, and and it's not even been 10 years yet. It hasn't even been a decade of him playing basketball, and look at the improvements he's made in the last 2 to 3 years. So sky's the limit for him. I'm not giving up on him. I'm not hopping off the bandwagon. I think Siakam's going to be a star, a perennial all-star at worst, a superstar. Eventually, give him 2-3 more years. And I promise you will not be unsatisfied. You will not be upset. You'll be excited with what you see in a few years. Back to Kawhi Leonard. He had his moments where he was down, where he couldn't get a basket, but when we needed him to, he carried us. And like the game 4 in Philly, we were down 2-1. He hit that big 3-pointer to put us up, and we tied the series, went back to Toronto, blew them out in Game 5. Then we got our butts kicked in Game 6, but we came back in a close nail-biter in Game 7, where Kawhi missed the free throw, Jimmy Butler got the layup, and Kawhi redeemed himself with that ultimate 4-bounce shot that no one expected to go in. And if you've ever been a Raptors fan, you'll know nothing ever goes our way. And fortunately, with Kawhi on our side this time and him being the best player on the floor, things went our way, and that became the most iconic shot in Raptors history and the only shot to ever go down at the buzzer at a Game 7. And it's going to live on forever. And I know tonight's going to be a big night. It's retro night, so everyone must be excited. It's a throwback night with Kawhi in the building. He's going to get his huge championship ring, which he's going to be excited to watch. Excited to see, excited to wear, and he's going to be excited to see his old teammates, the coaching staff, the doctor, Alex McKechnie, who took care of him the whole season, brought load management as a thing for him so that he would be ready to go in the playoffs and he could take as much time in the regular season to heal up. He said it himself that it's the regular season's like 82 practices to get ready for the real run, and that's for the Larry O.B. Now, Kawhi, there's a hot debate going around that everyone's saying, if you guys know who Jalen Rose is, he used to be a former NBA player, now he's like an analyst. A guy basically, you'll see him on First Take and all that, and he talks about he talked about retiring Kawhi's jersey. Now that's up for debate. I won't dispute it, but I don't think it's something that should happen because he was only there for a year. Even as an analyst, I respect him because Jalen Rose was a Raptor for a bit, and he knows how excited the Raptors fans have been since day one. We've been loyal since day one. So for us to get that championship, he knows how everyone is feeling. He knew how everyone felt in that moment. And obviously he's happy for the city because he loved Toronto. And you saw during the finals, we embraced all the old players in the middle of the court. Even if we had bad endings with certain players. And I don't think a jersey retirement is going to happen for Kawhi. I honestly don't think that's going to happen, but I do feel like they should put out a statue of that iconic moment of the shot in Game 7 against Philly in the semifinals. I feel like that shot will live on forever and be talked about for years and years to come, along with the championship, that whole finals run, because last season was the most anticipated regular season, playoffs, everything in total. That was like the biggest season that everyone was waiting to watch to see how it would go down. And it was just everything just fell into place for us. LeBron left, like I said earlier, and Golden State fell apart. And anyone who says that they feel sorry for Golden State, like they had some slouch team out there and they feel like that we would have got swept or lost in 5 if they were fully healthy, they were a super team. What are you guys talking about? Like, they were an overpowered team that no one was going to beat them if they were all fully healthy. But everyone's forgotten how much, like, they would have never won that first championship on their little dynasty run because LeBron lost Kyrie and Kevin Love that first year. I don't know how many of y'all forgot that, but Golden State wouldn't be what Golden State is if they had lost the first 2 times. Like, the second time LeBron had Kyrie and Kevin Love, they came back from a 3-1 deficit and ultimately ended up beating Golden State for that championship, which drove Draymond to run to the parking lot like a little girl and cry for Kevin Durant to come sign with them. And that's how, the NBA was ruined for about 2 years. I'm getting off topic, but I just had to put that out there because I know people have forgotten that Golden State blew a 3-1 lead before Kevin Durant arrived. And that tarnished LeBron's legacy a bit and took away from some of the rings that he could have had, where he could have had a legitimate argument to be the best player to ever play the game versus Michael Jordan, who's right now known as the GOAT. Back to Kawhi. I keep going off topic, but I'm talking about a lot of hot debates here. So Kawhi Leonard, he did talk about free agency and how he said it was a very difficult situation for him and how he really did consider coming back to Toronto. I don't know if I could believe that just because of how everything ended and how Masai said Uncle Dennis was kind of asking for too much that was not in Masai's power, and that ultimately led for the whole deal to drop. And some people think that Kawhi and his whole group was like stalling so that the Clippers could make a trade for Paul George and get him to the Clippers so that Kawhi could sign. Because Kawhi Leonard told Doc Rivers and Steve Ballmer and all of them that if they don't get Paul George, he's not coming. And then when people started speculating that if that were to happen, that he would just jump on the super team on the Lakers. But I honestly don't think he's that type of guy. I don't think he was going to go join LeBron. I don't think he wanted to be part of his legacy. He wanted his own legacy. And I'm pretty sure he would have came back to Toronto. Maybe not forever, but maybe a short-term deal, like a 2-year deal. That's what I'm most heard about. Like, it's a bittersweet thing for us Raptor fans because it was only 1 year. It was short and sweet, I'm not going to lie, because we were 1 for 1. We got 1 year of Kawhi. We did the most we could with them, and we're all satisfied customers. But to be able to come back for 1 more year and defend that championship and be at full strength and go at anybody when now that the whole NBA is fully balanced and it's not just 1 or 2 teams that are like super teams out there, like, it's good. It feels good, like it would give the Raptors a huge advantage. Like, they would be the best team with the most continuity, and I think they would have been the favorites going into the season if they kept Kawhi Leonard. And Pascal coming back and growing his game, I feel like another year of him being a second option would have helped. And Kyle Lowry is just a dog. Kyle Lowry, when you need him in big games on the road, he promises that he's better on the road, and he always is. You saw that in Game 6 of the finals when he came out guns blazing, 11 points straight. He went up for a 2-pointer, then 3 threes in a row. And he got a bumping. He got it. He got the flow of the game going. He started it off with the crazy threes, and VanVleet ended it off with the crazy threes. And they carried Kawhi that game. Kawhi only had 22 points. Pascal had 26. Lowry had 26, 10 assists, and I believe VanVleet had 22 points too. And I'm going to name a few other games that, that Kawhi wasn't the best, and now he had a team around him, a legit team, a contender that's still there without him on our team. Like, we're still a contender in the East without Kawhi, so now you know how squatted up he was. Game 3 in the Orlando series, the first round, Kawhi was sick. Pascal picked it up and went crazy, scoring 30 points to win that first road game to get us back home court advantage. And I believe game one of the finals, Pascal Siakam, 32 points. He went off. He had a career high in the finals. And then you got game 6 of the finals, like I said, with Kyle Lowry going off and Van Vliet and even Pascal. And then game 5 of Milwaukee, Van Vliet going for 7 threes. And ultimately, Kawhi did come back to life and closed out the game 6 against Milwaukee with this crazy run on his own to end the third quarter. And then he was the man, even though he missed a ton of shots and he took a ton of shots in that Philly series. He went crazy. He was the reason why we got through that into the next round. But yeah, I'm just excited, guys. I hope you all are too. Hit the like button if you do. If you're excited, if you're enjoying, if you think tonight's gonna be a lit night, hit the like button. And I'm excited to see the tribute video. I honestly am. I want to see how his emotions are. I want to see how excited he is. I just want to see it. He might even drop a tear. Who knows? I mean, that ring is big, you know. that thing could put a lot of people through a lot of emotions. And his teammates in the Clippers, on the Clippers side, probably going to see that ring and go, God damn. They put some thought into that ring, because they did. Kyle Lowry put a lot of thought into that ring. He made sure that it was a city. And, he made sure that Toronto was implemented into it. And that's all she wrote. But, yeah, that's pretty much it. That's going to do it for now. Hope you all enjoyed this video. Subscribe to the channel if you love hearing me talk about the Raptors. And we'll be back here for the post-game podcast to see how everything went down. Hopefully the Raptors are able to blow them out. And then you'll hear bear cheers for the rest of the night. And if not, you're going to hear a few boos if Kawhi is going crazy and taking this W from the Raptors, because we already know that we're on a 2-game losing streak with the losses to Miami and Houston at home. The first 2 losses at home of the season, back-to-back. So we know we want to try and get this W tonight. And we're going to do everything we can to get it. I know the Raptors are going to come out and play hard, even though it's going to be very emotional. Everyone's seeing each other, and it's a TNT game. Or not a TNT, it's an ESPN game, sorry. So yeah, just stay excited, please. The arena's going to be electric. Fans are going to go crazy. And the whole arena's going to be buzzing. But till then, stay blessed, stay woke, and peace!